can you just outline a little bit about Streamline, what they're doing, what they're offering, how they tie in with Arrow, everything like
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. I mean, the Streamline is a division of Arrow Transportation. Arrow is a 100-year-old transportation logistics company. So it's 4 generations of a private family, the Charles family. They've done a remarkable job growing it from day one to where we are today, celebrating our 100th anniversary. And it's basically technology that Arrow was running in the late 90s, early 2000s through a third-party vendor that in those days was very difficult business to run for our partner. And as a result, very cumbersome, very expensive,
Hmm.
hard to make a business out of that type of technology in those days. So the platform we were using went bankrupt, and we were in a position where we had to decide, what we were going to do next. Were we going to go buy another platform, or maybe did we have enough horsepower to build something ourselves? And we decided that, based on some of the people that we had on board, you had to support yourself as much as your vendor would support you. We decided to take it on ourselves. So in the early 2000s, 2005, we basically become Streamline. We start building the platform for ourselves, really with the sole purpose of running it and operating ourselves. And I can get into why, obviously, as we go.
Yeah.
'07, we incorporate Streamline, actually, ironically, through an e-learning company that we acquired, but kept the name and just moved the company along to the point where we thought around 2010, I would say the vision starts to become, if we can do something good here, maybe it's something we could take to market.
Right.
Our pain points that we're feeling when we go to see these vendors and talk about what we want as an organization, might be other companies that are feeling the same thing. So if we can do a great job with our platform and understand the business because we live it,
Hmm.
maybe we can go out and sell it and carve out a business unit and collaborate and move the platform forward at the same time. Make sure we don't get too stale with it.
Right.
So here we are, 2016. We go to market
Hmm.
lightly, just find some key test customers, proof of concept, and few friends and references through the industry, and here we are today. We're Streamline's effectively turned 12 years old back in March, and it's been exciting. It's been a lot of fun.
So it actually started out with a platform or platforms that Arrow was using,
Correct.
which I'm sure there still are,
Yep.
and now you've basically spun it into being a product for, I mean, I guess even competitors, essentially.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was purpose built for us, and then took it to market,
Yeah.
and looking to carve out, what the next step of technology looks like for the industry.
Right. I'd like to get into that as soon, right off the bat, just so people have an understanding of what we're actually physically talking now. Is there a software and hardware component to these?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the hardware piece, we've got some proprietary hardware that we build ourselves.
Right.
That's really the differentiator for us moving forward. That's really our biggest vision piece and where we really get excited about what we're doing with the business. And then a lot of it, like you say, with cloud technologies is consumer-based tablets, cradles that we buy to mount them in vehicles, connect to the cloud through our partners. And so it's a combination of consumer-based hardware, our own software that we've developed, and some proprietary hardware that we've developed as well.
Right. Now, in the technology, you have, well, I'll go through them each individually. You have Navistream. Yeah, would you mind bringing that up on the,
It's actually up.
oh,
There we
you're ahead of me.
Step ahead of
I
us.
am.
Can you scroll down so we can see? Now, is this a hardware piece or is this a software piece integrated into a
So
tablet?
basically, Navistream is the name of the software platform.
Right.
That's what you're getting your information from. At the end of the day, you want to connect to the vehicle, and you want to connect to the people that are looking after the vehicle to gain knowledge, so you can measure, you can manage, and then you can improve. I mean, that's really the goal of telematics. I mean, there's compliance pieces, there's safety pieces, really really important. But like we were talking a little bit before we got started, I mean, it's a business that you're supporting, and you want to support them in terms of how they can make money.
Right.
They're not running charities. They want to make money, and survive, and carry on, and do things the right way.
Yeah.
So this affords you the ability to do things the right way, process driven, make money. So the platform really is hardware that goes in the vehicle, so we can interact with the driver,
Hmm.
give him or her the information that they need, and then connect to the vehicle's engine, so we can drive some parameters from there, and then feed it to the back end through a SIM card, a data plan that pushes to the cloud to the office via just a simple web browser. So that really made it a lot easier for us to go to market, because in the old days, your satellite, it's expensive. It's not as easy to get that information from a vehicle
Yeah.
to the back office. Well, it's pretty simple now. We do it on our own personal lives every day.
Yeah. What's the information? For people that aren't familiar with the telematics, what's the information that's being given to the driver? What's the information that's being put back to, I guess, the head office?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I mean, there has to be value in it for everybody.
Right.
So from a driver's standpoint, let's start there because we're driver centric. You know, when you have over 700 of your own drivers, which isn't huge for some of our listeners' standpoint, and for others, they're going to say, yeah, it's really big in terms of the amount of drivers you have. And they're really good at telling you when something's wrong. I mean, they're not shy in your own house when you're developing something.
Right.
You get a ton of feedback. So we've done a really good job there. We're really proud of the interface with the driver and giving the driver value. So the driver, you know, gets in the cab, starts up their vehicle, and the first thing they need to do is log in, and then they need to do an inspection on the vehicle. So the login flow really walks them through nicely what a typical day will look like for them. So it's not getting in their way. It's actually going through the process and the order of things that a driver needs. So a real simple interface, everything they would have done on paper prior with an electronic or with an inspection on the vehicle, now they've got electronically, really clean, really simple. And now what that does for the driver, it's not a lot of work for them. It's ensuring that it gets done, which they will get hounded about. They don't have to collect paper and turn in their paper. And that information gets into the shop and gets into the office instantly. So now we're not waiting for days for that vehicle to come back to us. We have that information instantaneously. So again, information's power. You know, we always say, get good information into smart people's hands, let them make great decisions. And that's really, I think, what we're trying to do. So the driver goes through his or her day, loads, unloads, drives, and through the course of the day, the activities that they need to get through and the compliance pieces that they probably are most burdened by are all done for them with the telematics.
Right.
For our standpoint back in the office, you know, putting my trucking hat back on, because I've been on the trucking side for a number of years prior to this.
Right.
You know, we get that valuable information. We get those compliance pieces. We can see where we're violations. And then on top of that, we can get into the behavior of the driver and make sure that, you know, people are doing the right things so that we're safe, we're clean, but most importantly, we're making money.
Right.
That we're driving the right way and we're not spending money that we don't need to spend because we all drive personal vehicles. I mean, we know if I drive to Kamloops today and I put my foot into it a little hard, my fuel economy is not going to be as good. I'll spend more money. Well, you do that times 400 vehicles, 20 and a half days a month.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of money. Like it's a difference between living 100 years and living, 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's really it. It's massive. So
how much is it tracking though? Is it tracking, how well they're shifting through the gears as well as their speed, stopping? Like how in depth is it going?
Yeah.
I've never driven a truck, so I don't, that initial, even when the trucker gets in and fires up the vehicle, what is that process like? What are they checking, the main things before they get going?
It's a great question. I mean, they're just checking for the safety of the vehicles that they're going to operate to make sure that nothing's wrong, so they don't have a bad day and a catastrophe. So there's an in-cab piece, there's the engine piece that they're checking for the vehicle, the circle check, tires and whatnot, the trailers that they may or may not be pulling. So just an overall health check of their vehicle and what they're pulling for the day.
Right.
Is really that inspection piece.
Yeah.
The log piece, the electronic log, just really gets into how many hours they're going to drive. So there's rules in every jurisdiction, and you're allowed to drive so much, and then you need so much rest. And we won't get into the detail of that because it's really not really the biggest part of what we want to talk about. Mm-hmm. But the whole concept of that is let's make sure people aren't driving too much so they're safe on the road. They're not, fatigue's a big part of our industry, right?
Right.
And now with the electronic mandate that's happened in the U.S., as of December 2017 and is coming in Canada, every vehicle is going to need some form of electronic log that connects to the driver and connects to the engine.
Right.
So that's a piece that is coming and is forcing industry to look a little bit more at technology in the vehicle. And then for me, you're going to do this, but let's get you some money back. If we're going to spend money to have an electronic log in the vehicle, let's find a way to make that an investment for you that we can find ways to help your business and actually help you make more money.
Right.
Okay.
So is a Navistream, is it also like if a trucker is going down and he's braking too hard going down, is that also tracking that, or is this the time component?
No, to dovetail in the next part of your question, from a driver's standpoint, that's what he's most interested in. The driving piece, absolutely. It's speed, it's braking, it's RPM, which gets into your shifting and your aggressive type driving, idle time in the vehicle, hard brake applications, all those types of things will create a scorecard.
Right.
So at the end of the day, every driver, the three of us drive, we're gonna get a score.
Yeah.
A positive score or a less than positive score, and we're gonna see how we did.
Yeah.
And I really believe, and in my own experience, and that's where it's nice having come from the trucking and transportation background myself, It's not like I'm just out, presenting technology that I don't really understand, how this is actually going to play out in a fleet if you've never run
Yeah.
it, or if you have. Like, I understand the pushback and the positives, and I really have learned in my 12 years, 13 years on the aero side of the business that most people, they want to do a good job.
Yeah.
They don't mind. Like, they want to see where they can improve. They
Yeah.
want to see what they want to do, and those are the type of people that you want.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and you know what, my old adage was, good people want to surround themselves with good people. So we're trying to create and establish who our good people are, and that's going to draw more good people in, and that's how you run a 100-year-old company.
Yeah, I've got in my little car. I've got it's always scoring me, so I'm actually watching it. Is this in real time? Like as they're driving, is it scoring them while they're driving?
Yeah, it's a
or
great
is it,
question. They're
yeah,
getting coached as they drive now. So
yeah,
in the old generation of the platform that wasn't cloud-based, it was, at the end of the day, we print them a piece of paper, we stick it in their little box, we give them an attaboy or come see me,
yeah,
and that's really what you did. And then it goes into leadership. It's like you talked about off air, what goes into how you coach, how you lead people, or if you're going to be successful or not, or if you're going to lose them.
yeah,
Now, yeah, there's that active coaching as they're driving. So without getting too much of a nuisance in the cab, they'll
right,
just coach on some key parameters.
right,
Their score and their points total is there, and it's good. It creates that competition, for lack of a better word, with
yeah,
yourself, right?
yeah,
If you're internally motivated, you want to do well.
yeah.
Pushes you to be better.
And then now Navilink, what is that? What is that part of the Navistream
Yeah,
system?
so Navistream is the telematics platform, the onboard platform. Our Navilink suite of hardware is really how we connect to the engine. So the hub is really what drives the brain. And really what Navilink means to us, for those out there, is it's how we're going to connect. We're going to connect not only to the engine, as many have done in the past, but we can start to now connect to different sensors, different peripherals. We can start to drive the business in terms of what customers have that they're already using and how we can pull it all together through one platform. So we look at our platform as the hub and how we can connect different things to that. And then that Navilink piece, really the bigger differentiator and maybe the most interest to your listeners today, would really be how we can automate the vehicle.
Oh, okay.
So, like we talked earlier, it's City of Kamloops waste vehicles driving through the community, never exceeding speed limit. So they never have to worry about their vehicles going through a school zone at anything other than the speed that they've programmed into the vehicle.
Right.
So I think for some fleets and some pockets of fleets where maybe there's permits, maybe there's certain high density areas or very sensitive areas, it's a really nice feature to ensure that you're going to get the performance that you need in those specific areas.
Yeah.
It's very unique to industry, and we're really excited about it. And I think it is hands down our biggest differentiator. Really excited about how we can help fleets and help companies do that.
So how much of this Navilink, now there's a sort of a future component but that's not active at this moment, right? Like actually controlling the speed and things like that.
We have it active in some proof of concepts, and
Oh.
we've got basically some test customers that are working through it with us, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Along with
Okay.
our own fleet.
Right.
When you have 400 of your own trucks, you've got a lot of tests that you can do there as well.
Right.
And so we're being very strategic on how we do this, because we really feel that, there's so much talk of autonomous vehicles and whatnot, and we don't really that there's a debate on how long that will take or what'll happen. We still need the human interaction in the vehicle. We still need the people. So it's just how do we manage that? I think it's a logical step in the evolution of where industry's going.
Yeah. Actually, I was curious when you said about Aero being the one. So they originally took over. It wasn't called Streamline, but they took over the technology, right?
Yes.
Now that must be when on the R&D side. How much has that technology advanced since Aero take it over? Because now you do have these. You have 400 trucks. You can test it on 4 or 5 of the vehicles and
Yes.
get all the kinks. That must, well, that must streamline the process.
That's great.
Yeah,
It's a good name that way.
I couldn't think
It's
of another-
inevitable.
I couldn't think of another
No,
word.
it's inevitable. You sit down with a customer or someone like yourself, and it always works its way in, and
Oh, it's worth-
it always gets a chuckle, which is
Yeah.
good too. So
But it must really do that because you're eliminating having to then. I mean, you said you have test customers too, but you can kind of start with. Do you generally start with it internally?
Absolutely.
And then move out.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have the luxury of your own fleet, your own everything.
Yeah.
I mean, your own equipment, your own managers, your own workforce, your own different environments in terms of how those workforces are organized. So yeah, we're pretty fortunate that way.
Yeah.
But by the same token, we're humble enough to know that we don't know everything.
Right.
And I think that's part of our success. I mean, we've always said, you know what, hire great people, give them technology, and give them the autonomy to make great decisions. But we don't know everything. So, that's a great part of getting into other fleets and other customers and collaborating.
Yeah.
And I think that's, from the core telematics, the basic Navistream standpoint, the first piece we talked about, that's been one real nice advantage. We're dealing with other companies that weren't really competitors, but at the end of the day, another trucking company, and we're well respected in this part of the world.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So people are curious in what we're doing. They think they can learn something from us. We think we can learn something from them, and it's a great avenue to be able to collaborate with other companies and make a platform that works and helps Aero.
Yeah.
Like, by going to market, we've made the platform better. That's going to help us too.
Yeah. So I guess in that sense, sometimes when you find something that needs to get improved, it might not necessarily go to Aero then, because if the challenge is coming, the issue, for lack of a better word, is coming from someone who's testing it, one of your customers, you have to fix it from their standpoint or update
Correct.
it from their standpoint.
Correct. And what we're seeing more over time is that, we started, let's be honest, of course it was Aero. I mean, Aero was the only one using the platform. It was all about Aero. We go to market and we're finding that, no disrespect, our owner doesn't want to hear this. It's not all about Aero anymore. It's
Right.
about our customers.
Yeah.
And it's becoming less and less about Aero. And Aero will probably maybe benefit more than anybody as a result of us becoming Streamline and standing on our own 2 feet. And I think that's really where we are as an organization now. We're really just starting to stand on our own feet now.
Right.
We're becoming Streamline.
Yeah.
We're not Aero. And
Yeah.
that's exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's really exciting, is that, you got us down here to talk about Streamline, and then you find out about Aero.